pick up the apple, put it into the basket. Press the minimize button. Maximize the window.
Grab the peach. Pick up the watermelon. The first one. Press the minimize button. Maximize the window.